Kevin Hunter here on the Business Forum Show, and my guest in studio with me is Matt Pantze from Cross Fitness Confidence. Hey, don't let the last name give you away. He's not a pansy at all. He's going to be help you get into shape. So you can find him on the web at crossfitconfidence.com, and the contact number is 320-267-3807. So first of all, welcome to the show, Matt.
Thank you.
And as you said before the show, you were given a lot of crap about the last name in basic training, right?
Yeah, when I first started out, it was pretty obvious that it was funny to all the drill sergeants, and it made me work a little bit harder to prove myself, and then finally they kind of left me alone.
And says, wow, this guy isn't a pansy after all.
Yep, exactly.
Fantastic. So you decided to get into fitness, and we talked, obviously gave people a little preview on the military side. Was that what drove you to decide you wanted to be a fitness trainer with CrossFit Confidence?
Yes and no. Everything that I've done has always been about the challenge, and I always like the challenge of working out and the things that the human body is capable of doing. So just started at an early age, and kind of fell in love with it, and decided that that's something I could enjoy doing the rest of my life.
Excellent. So talk a little bit about CrossFit Confidence, because you say this is a lot different than a lot of exercise programs that are out there. In fact, one of the things that you mentioned is how even from day to day, what people are doing is very different. And I've recognized from the training even that I've done in the past that getting stuck in a rut isn't necessarily a good thing when it comes to exercise. So talk about how your program is different than others.
So CrossFit by definition is constantly varied functional movements done at high intensity. So just like you said, the whole day-to-day being different, constant variation. We're going to switch up everything that we do every day. Ideally, no two workouts will be the same. We'll change up the time frame that we work in as well as the movements that we do. And then the functional movements are going to be multi-joint movements, things that mimic what we do in everyday life. So we do a lot of squats, so it's pretty functional, standing up, sitting down, picking something up off the ground. So we'll do a little bit of gymnastics, basic gymnastics, so anything body weight, push-ups, sit-ups, pull-ups, those types of things. And then weightlifting could be any external load, whether it's a medicine ball, a barbell, anything like that. And then metabolic conditioning, so that'll be like using a rowing machine, doing jump rope, and then running. And so we'll just kind of mix everything up and keep it interesting, and that's the high intensity part is probably what makes CrossFit what it is. So we do shorter workouts, typically shorter workouts than what people are used to doing, and that's where we kind of make our money. And so the high intensity, we'll put everything against a clock, and 3, 2, 1, go, and everybody works hard.
So what do you say to somebody whose fitness level might be limited to a few curls a day with a donut in this hand and a cup of coffee in this hand? How do you help somebody like that get into something that's a high-intensity workout?
I always tell people when they come in, if maybe they can't do a pull-up, and that's fine. We have ways to scale everything that we do to meet different ability levels, and the biggest thing I always stress is everybody starts somewhere. The important thing is that you start. And so, just going with that route and building people up.
Well, you mentioned that there's a 3-month membership that you get people started with, and in part is to get them adapted to the program. Talk about how you do that.
So we'll start people out when they first come in beginner classes, and that's just so they can take time to learn the movements. We teach it at a slower pace. So we split our classes between beginner level and all levels. And in the all levels classes, everybody knows the movements, and so that way we don't have to spend so much time on movement standards and technique and proper form. And so it's taught at a little bit faster of a pace. So for somebody just coming in, we'll put them through beginner classes until they learn all the movements and become consistent enough to do it with the high intensity to prove results, or to get those proven results. And so it typically takes 2 to 3 months, depending on the person. Everybody's different.
Everybody in business, Matt, deals with challenges and struggles in their organization. What would you say is your number one obstacle? You've had this business now for 6 months, and some business people out there go, wow, he's going to learn some really interesting lessons in the upcoming months and over the next couple of years. What would you say is your biggest challenge in business today?
Right now, it's just getting the word out that we're there. So we're brand new, and a lot of people don't know what CrossFit is, and so they might see it and have heard from somebody about it, and it's like, oh, that's too difficult. And so just getting people to understand that it's not the crazy stuff that they see on TV, and it can be done by anybody.
Excellent. So you mentioned to me that your wife is working with you in the business as well. For some people, the husband and wife thing in business works really well. I have my wife that works with me every single day here in the show and works fantastic. In other cases, I've been to businesses where a husband and wife are working together, and I'm going, wow, I hope it's not as tenuous at home as it is here at work. So how has that worked out for you having the spouse there?
You know, it is the best thing possible. So going into it, one of the things that I was the most worried about was, taking care of all the books and tracking all the numbers. And luckily my wife was a finance and accounting major, so she takes care of all that stuff. She gets a little mad at me sometimes when I'm training her, but that's a kind of a husband-wife relationship. So
do you go drill sergeant on her? Is that what you're saying?
No, not at all.
No.
I mean, I'll push her to do some things that maybe she doesn't want to do, and she'll let me know when she doesn't want to do them. But no, it's been great, and she's been a huge help. She always pushes me to, be accountable and to get things done. So yeah, she's been a huge part of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've been in business a short time, and you even mentioned to me that you don't have much advice to give other business people, but you're nonetheless learning a lot of things. Any adjustments that you've made now that, if you rewound the clock back to your start date 6 months ago, is there anything you would have done differently starting out based on what you've learned already in the first 6 months?
I guess the biggest thing is being consistent. So when I first started out, it was kind of just hit and miss, trying different things to see what worked. And so even whether it was my programming or my coaching style, things were kind of all over the board, and I was trying to find my own rhythm. And now I've found it. And so looking back, I would have been a little bit more consistent and tried to be the same all the way through.
Mm-hmm. Well, not to bring McDonald's into a fitness discussion, but part of what makes McDonald's work is that people do have a very predictable experience. And so that's actually a really good point that you mentioned that, because figuring out how to be very consistent with what you're doing in business is a very significant thing to understand now, and figure out how to make that something that expectations from one client to the next start to match up. Because when that does, then your referrals in business will start to happen faster for you, and things will start to click more for you. Well, I certainly wish you the best here, Matt. Matt Pantze has been my guest here on the Business Forum Show. You can find him online at CrossFitConfidence.com. Again, the website, CrossFitConfidence.com, and you can also call him at 320-267-3807. Again, 320-267-3807. Kevin Hunter with Matt Pantze here on the Business Forum Show. Thanks for joining us.